agrees it's important to be healthy. That's why so many of the decisions we make in our daily life are about good health.
When we exercise or eat well or visit a doctor for a checkup, we're making decisions about our health. Our decisions can influence our health. But what other factors affect our health?
In this program, we explore the determinants of health, including individual factors, socio-cultural factors, socio-economic factors, and environmental factors.
What kind of things determine your health? Is it only your choices? Or does it also depend on the place you live, where you work, how much money you have, and the things you're taught?
To begin to understand the determinants of health, we need to agree on what health is. Here's Todd Harper, CEO of Vic Health, an organisation that promotes good health in Victoria.
Health has often been defined in health promotion circles as the process of enabling individuals to have control over their health and the determinants of their health.
So health promotion is the process of enabling people to increase control over their health and its determinants, which can be achieved through health education. Organisations like Victoria Health or the Cancer Council work to help keep people informed about health choices. That's because many of the factors that influence our health are modifiable. This means that they can be changed.
We know that the big drivers of poor health in our community are things like smoking, nutrition, alcohol, physical activity, a lack of opportunities for people to fully participate in society.
If people are given an opportunity and have the motivation to eat more healthily, to exercise regularly, or to stop smoking, their health will improve. These are modifiable factors. Other examples may include limiting exposure to UV radiation or refusing to engage in risk-taking behaviour.
These are some of the big drivers of health problems in our society, and we also know that many of those are actually able to be addressed through well-targeted interventions that improve health behaviours but also address the underlying determinants of poor health, such as lack of access to economic resources, discrimination, freedom from violence. These sorts of things are all vital ingredients of good health.
Health is also determined by some non-modifiable factors. This means that they can't be changed. For example, you may have been born with a disease like type 1 diabetes. Of course, the way we deal with inherited illnesses and other non-modifiable factors can also influence our health. And many genetic illnesses, like diabetes, are treatable today with education and medical intervention.
So, our health is determined by a range of interrelated factors, some modifiable and some non-modifiable. It's the combination of all these factors that ultimately determines our health. Your age, gender, and genetic makeup all affect your health. These are factors we don't have any control over. Despite this, if we know that a certain disease, say heart disease, tends to affect the men in our family after a certain age, we can make changes to improve our diet, exercise regularly, and not smoke to try to limit the impact of these genetic factors.
So education and access to health services are important in determining your health. If you know what the risks are, you can make better decisions to stay healthy and use available health services to monitor and control your health.
Health is determined by a range of interrelated factors. These factors can be modifiable or non-modifiable. Individuals can change their behaviour to improve their health. Some factors, like environment or genes, are more difficult to change. This is one reason why some groups of people have better or worse health than others.
Knowing that some of the factors affecting a person's health can be modified by changes in behaviour or environment, the next step is making sure people have the knowledge and skills they need to maintain good health. So if at least some of the factors affecting a person's health are modifiable, there's always the possibility of change.
But for people to make changes, they also need knowledge and skills to make informed, healthy decisions. For example, if someone has very sensitive skin prone to burning, education about skin cancer can help them to make wise decisions when planning to go out into the sun and have knowledge about the risks of being in the sun unprotected. If a person is completely unaware of the dangers associated with sun exposure, they won't know the risks and may not take the appropriate measures to avoid skin damage. Therefore, they risk health problems like skin cancer developing in the future. So a person's access to education at school, at home, or in the workplace can have a big effect on the decisions they make about their health. Knowing that you can prevent skin cancer by avoiding the harsh sun might be one step. Having regular skin checks might be another.
But prevention and sensible choices just aren't possible without a good attitude and a good education. An individual's attitude is also important in determining their health.
People who are interested in keeping healthy and avoiding risky behaviour have a better chance of staying healthy. Factors like sun tanning, lack of exercise, or drug and alcohol use all have negative effects on a person's health. One final determinant of a person's health is genetics. Our genes not only determine our risk of certain illnesses, but also contribute to our body types and lifespans. These individual or personal factors have a major influence on a person's health. A number of individual factors influence a person's health. These include skills, knowledge and education, attitudes, risk-taking behaviour, genetics.
Good health is not only affected by individual concerns, it's also affected by the world around us.
Here's Todd Harper again on some other factors that influence health.
We know that people who are more socially connected within their community, who are free from discrimination, who aren't subject to violence or intimidation, are more likely to have control over their own health. They're more likely to be empowered and enabled, I suppose, to make decisions and choices which are good for their health. Conversely, if we imagine someone who is in that situation, doesn't have good social networks, doesn't have good family networks, perhaps hasn't been able to achieve high levels of education, hasn't been able to achieve a certain level of income to protect their health. Someone in that situation faces significant barriers in terms of being able to improve their health. So that's why I think it's important to look at the range of factors which are critical to good health in our community.
So an individual's community and family have a big impact on health too. That's partly because our ideas and knowledge about health are greatly affected by the people around us. Chances are that if you grew up in a household where healthy food and regular exercise are part of your everyday routine, you'll have the knowledge and attitude you need to make good decisions about your own health.
People's attitude about health, fitness, nutrition and medicine are strongly influenced by family, and the same goes for peers. If a social group or a group of friends are involved in a regular sport or exercise, it's easier for others in the group to get involved. But that's also true for risk-taking behaviour. People are often influenced by those around them. So if an individual's peer group spends time suntanning or binge drinking, it's much more likely they'll be influenced to do the same. The media contributes to these attitudes too. Ideals about body shape or appearance can also set unhealthy standards. For example, do computer-altered images of thin, tanned models encourage people to partake in unhealthy behaviour, like dieting or using tanning salons? Do images of drinking or smoking encourage these behaviours in the community? Of course, on the positive side, there are media campaigns that educate people about health risks, whether it's drink driving or lung cancer. These also contribute to an individual's knowledge and attitudes towards health. Other social and cultural factors that influence health include a person's culture and religion. An individual's culture often contributes ideas and attitudes about exercise or diet. This may be similar or different to the culture in which they currently live. For example, some cultures teach that women should not participate in contact sports. And religion can also affect what we choose to eat and our attitudes to exercise or medical advice. For example, the Muslim culture has periods of fasting. This may affect a person's energy levels and intake of vitamins and minerals. The Chinese culture have strong ideas about the use of traditional medicines to treat illness rather than relying on modern medical techniques. An individual's health is influenced by a range of social, cultural, and community factors. These include family, peers, media, culture, and religion. The attitudes, examples, and information we gain from those around us are important determinants of health.
Many of the factors we've discussed so far involve some level of personal choice, but a major group of determinants of health over which we may have less control is economic influences. When people don't have a stable income, it can be difficult to maintain a focus on health.
Unemployment is a big issue affecting millions of people around the world. If someone isn't working, it's more difficult for them to buy healthy food for themselves and their family. Being unemployed may cause a person to have psychological stress brought about by worrying about money and housing. This can cause additional health problems like high blood pressure and depression. For those with a high income, there are more options. When you're not worried about money, you can use health services, have regular checkups, buy health supplements, join a gym, or get a personal trainer. If you're stressed, you can go on a holiday or take some time to relax. As well as enabling you to have more options, a high income also allows better living conditions, which leads to more motivation and access to exercise. For example, for someone who is homeless, accessing healthy food and safe, warm living conditions is very difficult.
So higher income and social status is linked to better health. Significant differences between rich and poor can be seen in the differences between the states of their health. This inequality is a big concern for those working in the health services industry.
If we look at one of the most pressing issues of health inequality in our community, it's Indigenous health, where people of Indigenous background have life expectancies which are about a decade lower than the rest of the population. Here is a group which has poorer outcomes in relation to the key drivers of good health, including education, housing, income, etc. We also know that in this situation, access to affordable, appropriate housing is absolutely critical. It's hard for an individual to be focused on, say, individual health behaviours while they're faced with a diabolical situation in relation to housing, for example.
So for many people in our community, accessing housing and employment is an important step toward better health. Education is also a factor. We've seen how individual, cultural and economic influences can determine an individual's health. Access to a good education is vital because it allows people to make choices about their health, even when other factors may have negatively influenced them.
In a broader sense, lower levels of education are linked to lower incomes, increased stress, and poorer health. An individual's health can be influenced by economic factors. Access to employment, education, health services and income all impact on a person's health through food options, exercise, living conditions and stress levels.
The environments we live in can have a huge impact on our health. Clean water and air, safe roads and houses are vital in building safe and healthy communities.
The geographic location of environments also makes a difference.
We know that isolation, geographic isolation or social isolation, can be detrimental to health. So we do need to, I think, work within our healthcare system, but also within our social institutions, education, workplace, cultural settings as well, to make sure that people in remote or disadvantaged parts of the community have good access to those services and those opportunities. If we are providing that, not only will it improve the health outcomes of those people, but it will also enable a better contribution to reducing health inequalities in our community.
People who live in remote communities often have very limited access to healthcare. It's not so easy to get regular checkups or medical advice if your local doctor is hundreds of kilometres away. This is especially important in emergency situations. If there's an accident, a delay of even a few minutes can be crucial. For people in remote communities, other social factors can come into play. For example, restricted access to employment or education can ultimately affect health through lack of knowledge, lack of health options, and through isolation. These days, technology is able to play an increasing role in helping people who live in remote locations to access the same health education as those in more populated centres. Through the internet, people can gain information, talk to doctors, and keep in touch with others. Technology also has other influences on health.
For people who work in physical roles, technology can make workplaces safer. On the downside, with such a heavy reliance on computers and machines, we're spending a lot more time sitting down.
The place we work can have a big impact on health. It's not just work-related accidents or conditions. The sedentary work many people do, sitting down all day at computers, means that people are getting less exercise. The environments in which we live and work can also impact on our health. People who live in remote communities are affected by lack of access to health services and preventative care. Technology can improve our health through increased communication and education. It also helps provide safer working environments. However, many people work at computers, leading to less active lifestyles, which can have negative health impacts.
Our health and our opportunities for good health are affected by a range of factors.
Of course, our personal choices have a big influence on our health. But our ability to be healthy is determined by our environment, our family, our culture, our community, our income, and our education, as well as a host of other factors.
Perhaps the biggest factor affecting our health is the education and awareness of what affects our health and the choices we make.